Okay, so here we have Rephrasely, which is another helpful writing tool. This is basically the interface. This is basically what you get when you type in rephrasely.com. It is offering a free trial and having me sign in, but I am not going to do that. I'll just see what it gives me. Now, it may prompt me with something that requires me to log in. But basically, I'm using, there's a number of modes up here. You can, shorten, expand, smooth, standard, summarize. And this basically, the thought here is to put an idea into the original window here, stream of thought, stream of consciousness, list bullet points, and then it's going to paraphrase it. It's going to expand it and turn it into a well-written content. And so you can shorten it if you've got a really long paragraph you want to tighten up. If you have some ideas, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand it, smooth it out, summary, check it for grammar, be more diplomatic if you're sort of using highly emotive words, so on and so forth. You can see the premium modes here. You can add an academic sort of structure and tone and grammar and vocabulary, creative, formal, all that kind of stuff. So these are the free modes. It also detects a number of different languages, which is really, really interesting and quite helpful. So I'm just going to put in here, I was going to talk about generative AI and its promise or ability to reduce bias and improve diversity in the legal profession. So let me get my thoughts out here, and then we'll see how good of a job it does. Again, this is a free mode, so we can't have high expectations, but we'll check it out. Okay, so I just wrote a paragraph, poorly structured. It says the potential of generative AI for reducing bias and improving diversity in the legal profession. One example would be to use a resume tool driven by generative AI that protects the identity and any identifiable context of the applicant and rather assesses the resume compared to the job description. Right now, too many companies rely on resume keyword search software that can have bias embedded in it based on language, phrasing, word choice parameters. AI would be less restrictive and quote unquote interpret the resume rather than strictly taking it word for word. Now, of course, this could introduce another type of bias if we're not careful to train the AI model appropriately. So let's see what this comes up with. I've pressed paraphrase here and it has changed it. Let me just review it and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so even though I chose expand, you can see just by visually, it didn't really expand. It's almost to the character the same, but there are differences. In fact, I would say it has cleaned up my original content, but the variation I would say is very minimal, maybe 2 to 5% difference between these two things. I don't know how many times this is going to let me test this, so I'm going to test out another option. So here I chose in the mode literary. We'll see what literary means. So, okay, visually, it's reduced it to some degree. Let me just read it and I will summarize. So this almost made it more conversational, actually. I would almost say it smoothed it out. Just reading the paraphrased content just was easier cognitively. It just kind of flowed. So it definitely made it more literary, I guess, instead of my staccato just hammering at the keyboard over here in the original. I'll play with a couple more modes and see what we can generate. Here I'm going to choose smooth. See what it does to smooth it out. We've expanded here. So let me see exactly what is going on with smoothing. It's interesting. I look at the return and it has a sense of momentum. Now, this is highly subjective, but it changed the writing completely. I don't necessarily know what smooth means to the folks at Rephrasely, but it has rephrased this and has almost, I would say, put a sort of, it leans into it, creates a little bit of momentum, gives you a sense of purpose and looking out into the future and talking about this. So really, really interesting. So I'm going to try shorten here. And, when we think about trying to be a little bit more concise and crisp, we see that it absolutely did shorten it. So basically, it took out the current state, which is the company using software that's based on keyword searching and all that of resumes, which is sort of a big section and a big problem actually with bias in how many job applicants are reviewed and scanned before they even get a chance to get a human eye on them. So anyway, Rephrasely, really interesting. Again, a really nice writing tool. This is definitely just a free version on their site. I suggest you play around with it.